Hello everyone, Sidanet here with another update from the Avalanche ecosystem. You may have already seen the announcement on Twitter because it went live yesterday, 21 hours ago at the moment of recording. But Yield Yak and Orca DAO are collaborating on some really cool strategies, including yield farming on Yield Yak and taking out loans on Orca DAO. They also asked me to make a little video to explain the process to you, see where you can benefit from this collaboration. They've also kindly committed to a donation to the channel, which is always very much appreciated, but as a result I did put the sponsored flag up. Now without further ado, let's give a quick introduction to both of these dApps, just in case you're not familiar with. Yield Yak is an OG in the Avalanche ecosystem, famous also for their generous Yak airdrop. Basically, Yield Yak is a platform where your yield farming is automated. So for example, if you were to deposit some LP on Trader Joe, you would get Joe tokens, right? What you could do is take those Joe tokens, sell them for whatever you had in the pool in the first place, thus increasing your share of the pool and increasing your rewards the next time around. If you want to do that yourself, it's quite manual, you have to pay gas fees all the time, so Yield Yak automates that for you. It's a very useful service, especially if you're a bit of a passive investor like I am. On the other hand, Orca DAO is a stablecoin lending platform. What you do is you deposit some collateral. For example, with this new collaboration, you can deposit Yak redemption tokens in here. And based on the value of your collateral, you can take out a 0% loan. What's also really cool about Orca DAO is that a percentage of their revenue goes to marine conservation efforts, which I care about a lot, so I think that's really cool. So let's take a quick look at how it works. For this video, I'm going to start at the Orca DAO website, AVAI.finance. We'll leave the link in the description as well. If you just fill in that, you go straight to the homepage, but you can also use app.avai.finance to go straight into the app. Now, as you can see, when I open the app, I do not currently have a vault active, but now with Yield Yak, we can open a new vault. So let's press create vault to start. And as you can see, there is now a Yak x Aave AVAX strategy. What it means is that you can take the Yak redemption tokens, which are the tokens that you get if you deposit AVAX in the Aave strategy of Yield Yak. If you do that, you get the redemption token, and that redemption token can be the collateral in Orca DAO. What is important to note here is that you do need the redemption token to get your AVAX back. So if you default on your loan, you do lose your initial AVAX as well. Furthermore, a little bit of alpha leak for you. I have been informed that the Bitcoin and Ethereum strategies are also being worked on and will likely launch quite soon. So before we create the vault, we first need to deposit some AVAX in Yield Yak's Aave AVAX strategy. So in order to do so, we go to yieldyak.com, go to farms. Then in farms, for me, the top left one is already the right farm. As you can see, the platform is Aave and the asset is AVAX, single-sided. If you have to search for it, you can use these filters or just search here for AVAX and then, for example, go to single asset. For this video, I will deposit 10 AVAX into this strategy. So go to my account and deposit 10 AVAX. And with that transaction succeeded, you can see my TVL is updated. I've also received some Yak redemption tokens, which I can use in the Orca DAO vaults. So back there, let's go and create a vault, which is another transaction. And once it completes, we can see our vault here. Let's go to manage. And first, let's deposit some Yak redemption tokens. So in my case, I'm fully okay to deposit the maximum amount. Everything here looks good, so I'll approve. And then submit the final transaction. And there we go, and as you can see, we now have our collateral deposited. Let's go to loans. So let's take a moment to walk through this screen. It's important to realize that if you take out a loan in Orca DAO, the value of your collateral must exceed the value of your loan, often by quite a few percentage points. So if you take a look here at your max loan to value, you can see it's 50%. This basically means that the borrowed amount cannot exceed 50% of your collateral. If you go over that, you may be at risk of liquidation, so do be a little bit careful with that. The advice is always to steer clear from the max LTV value. As you can see here, if we were to borrow exactly 50% LTV, then we would have 454 and a little bit of AVAI available, AVAI being the stable coin that is native to Orca DAO. So like I said, we'll steer away a little bit from 50% LTV. I think if I borrow about 300 AVAI, that should keep me in a pretty safe spot. So let's type 300 and go next. As you can see, we'll end up with about 33% loan to value ratio, which is okay to me. And we submit for that loan. And as you can see, we now have borrowed 66% of our limit, LTV of 33%, like we just saw, 300 AVAI in our wallet. And let's go and do something cool with that. So there's a couple cool things that this enables, a couple varieties of leveraged farming. Also, if you're just bullish on AVAX and you want to keep it, but you also want to do some degen stuff and you need a little bit of funding for that, if you supply your AVAX in this way, you get to keep it in the end. If you make a profit on your degen stuff, you just pay back your loan and you can get your AVAX back. One really funny thing is that because you deposited your AVAX in the Yield Yak A strategy, you actually get interest on those as well. So one thing you could do actually with your AVAI right now is you could just use that to buy more AVAX and then just deposit that AVAX into the strategy as well, thus increasing the rewards you get in the Yield Yak AVAX strategy just even more. So that's a really cool thing you could do, but for this video I want to show you a slightly different strategy. You just need to do whatever suits you best. So if we go to the farming tab within Orca DAO, you can actually see that there is a USDC A-vay farm which offers 86% APR on a stable pair. So that's a great pair to be in. And now that we have some A-vay, we can trade that one-on-one with USDC. If you go to USDC exchange and want to go to redeem, swap half of my A-vay for USDC. You can see there's a slight exchange rate there. Go confirm, go back to farming, USDC A-vay pair, get LP. This takes us to Penguin where the pair lives. I'm gonna go max for USDC and supply. So now we could stake those LP tokens into the Orca DAO farm, but we can take this even one step further because Yield Yak also offers auto compounding on this pair. So if we go to Yield Yak and we search in the farms for A-vay, we can see the pair that we just deposited our tokens into. You can go to my account, see that we have got our Penguin liquidity pools tokens, press max, and then deposit. And then once the transaction completes, you can see your TVL is now updated. We're farming slightly under $300 at a compound API of 91%, on top of the returns that we're already getting through staking AVAX through Yield Yak in Aave. It's a great strategy because it's fairly low risk, right? So like the first half is single-sided staking of AVAX, and then your second half is farming and auto compounding a stablecoin pair at a pretty high API. And in a stablecoin pair, unless one of them loses their peg, there isn't really much risk of IL. So it's really just a low risk strategy to earn an extra 91% on top of the about 24% API you already get through staking AVAX in Yield Yak's Aave strategy. The only thing you really need to keep your eye on is the liquidation risk. Make sure that if the AVAX price drops, that your LTV does not approach and especially not exceeds 50% or you're at risk of liquidation. But as long as you steer safe, take a safe percentage, check in occasionally, especially if the price goes down, you should be good. And this is just a great way to earn low risk API on top of your low risk API. So everyone, that's already it for this video. I hope it was useful to you. Let me know what kind of crazy strategies you come up with. Would love to hear about them in the comments. Thanks again to the Yield Yak team for supporting the channel. Hope to see all of you in the next video, and goodbye.